So we got introduced to the idea of 0. It is nothing but the value, the input value, which makes the output to be 0. So what we did was, I had given already set of numbers and we found out the 0. But that is not the case all the time. Obviously, practically only give you the numbers, right? You have to figure it out. So what are the ways that we can do it? Well, we have trial and error. That is, we guess the number, or we kind of pick few numbers and try it out, get a feel of it. We have graphical method. We have formula method, algebraic method. I just classified it, but yeah, hardcore classification is trial and error, graphical and algebraic. Formula per se is derived from that only, but anyways. So let's start off by taking an example. It's better always to understand things with examples. I have f of x being equal to 4x plus 10, right? If I use the first method, trial and error, so we're looking at f of x is equal to 4x plus 10. Clearly, if I try a positive number, so let's see what happens. Let me try 1. 4 into 1 plus 10, so I'll get 14, right? So all I did was substitute 1 in place of x. So this is not helping. Let me try minus 1. 4 into minus 1 plus 10, this is equal to 6. Well, this is kind of going near to the 0, so let's keep trying, going towards the negative term. F of minus 2. So this will be 4 into minus 2 plus 10. So this is 2, looks promising. F of minus 3 is equal to 4 into minus 3 plus 10. Well, oh, this turns out to be negative 2. So the 0 has to be somewhere in between. So it's not very conducive. Matlab, you are putting so many values and still the 0 happens to be a decimal. So again, there are so many possibilities and it's not easy to figure out decimals. Yeah, these numbers are easy, 4 and 10, but if there are complicated numbers, it's not so easy. So next I'll talk about algebraic method. Actually, it's kind of easier it's faster compared to trial and error. It's much faster. Actually, there's no comparison. We can't even compare this. So trial and error method, right? So what we have to do is, since we are trying to figure out 0, as we are trying to find 0, right? Basically, for the given input, right, some input x, my output has to be 0. That's the whole idea of the input value 0. If this x is the 0, then the output has to be equal to 0. Make sense? Now, what is f of x itself? Well, f of x itself is 4x plus 10, which is equal to 0. Now, I just have to solve. This is a linear equation in one variable. So all I just have to do is solve this. How do you solve it? So you subtract minus 10 both the sides and you get 4x is equal to minus 10. This and this will get cancelled. Then we divide with 4. Then we have x is equal to minus 5 by 2. Right? It's not easy to figure out. It's clearly between minus 2 and minus 3. It's not an easy thing to figure out with trial and error, is it not? So our 0 happens to be minus 5 by 2. Okay. As you can see, the zeros can be more complicated than this and than simple integers. It can be a complicated things as well. So we can't use trial and error any point of time. So one quick note, this part of solving linear equation and all, I've done in detail in your math basics. So if you're not good with this, which is must to know, you can't escape this, please go back and watch math basics, then come back to the core syllabus. Please don't do this to yourself. Please don't start off with this and end up not learning anything. Okay, so we looked at trial and error, we looked at algebraic method. Next, let's look at graphical method. So the basic idea of plotting graph, I hope you guys know how to graph linear equation. So over there, if you plot it, look at the graph, you'll be able to figure out the zero. How? Let me show that to you. Just a second. So I have coded the graph part. So this will help me to plot the graph, right? So I need not do the traditional paper method. So now we are looking at a linear equation and it happens to be 4x plus 10, is it not? So let me change the code. So we have coefficient of x to be 4 and this is your 10. Okay, so y is equal to 4x plus 10. That's your linear equation. So let it plot and we have the output over here, right? So where is our 0? Can you guys figure it out? It is within this space. Right? So you can see this is your y-axis. That's your y-axis, that's your x-axis, and here is your green line. Green line indicates your f of x is equal to 4x plus 10. So to make sure of that, you can see over here it is showing that whatever green color line we are looking at, that is equation 1, and equation 1 happens to be, according to the code, 4x plus 10. So we are looking at the right graph and it is passing the x-axis at minus 2.5. Minus 2.5 is nothing but minus 5 by 2. Minus 5 by 2 is same as minus 2.5. So you can clearly see that graphically it's much easier to figure out the 0. All you have to do is look at the graph and look at where it is crossing the x-axis or just touching the x-axis. So if that point is visible and you're able to zoom in and figure it out, that is your 0. That's it. Okay. So rest of the value are non-zero values, right? All of these values are non-zeros. Okay. All of this output values are not zeros, right? This is the output which has 0. Makes sense? Because it's on the x-axis. So all this, to understand this better, you need to have a thorough knowledge of graph as well. So plotting a graph which you have done it in 8th and 7th grade, I guess, right? So that knowledge is must to understand this better. Okay, very simple. So we looked at 3 methods, and the last method, formula method, is not used in, it's not that big deal. Formula is not required to figure out linear equations, so there's no point in looking into formula. Okay, so this is your 3 methods for finding the 0 of a linear equation. Please enroll to our program at chalkpieceacademy.com, wherein we'll be teaching you a lot more tricks for faster simplification and calculation, DIY projects. We'll code with Python, we'll work with Arduino Uno. There are a lot more magic tricks and the physics behind it. There are printable materials which will help you recap and understand things better. We'll have live revision and doubt session 2 months before your term exams. It's very cost effective. There would be no ads or any kind of distractions, and we have a dedicated app to help you guys with this.